President Obama served notice today. He's ready to force Congress's hand on immigration reform. The White House said he'll give a primetime address tomorrow night to announce his plan to shield up to 5 million people from deportation. The president himself spoke in a video posted on the White House Facebook page.
Everybody agrees that our immigration system is broken. Unfortunately, Washington has allowed the problem to fester for too long. And so what I'm going to be laying out is the things that I can do with my lawful authority as president to make the system work better, even as I continue to work with Congress and encourage them to get a bipartisan, comprehensive bill that can solve the entire problem.
Republicans have warned the president's unilateral action will poison the well with the next Congress when they'll control both the House and the Senate. Today, Texas Senator John Cornyn called it an abuse of power, unfair to those going through the legal immigration process.
We are the most generous country in the world when it comes to naturalization, almost 1 million people a year. But the president's going to tell the people who've been waiting patiently in line, playing by the rules, get in the back of the line. I'm going to put millions of people ahead of you in front of the line who have not played by the rules.
We'll look more closely at the political implications of what the president means to do after the news summary. A snowstorm for the ages left parts of western New York State struggling to recover today, with at least 6 people dead. The slow-moving system was fueled by the Great Lakes and turned into kind of a monstrous snow-making machine. All day yesterday and for much of today, the snow kept coming, hour after hour, inch by inch, foot upon foot.
It's pretty incredible, the amount of snow. When I came out this morning,
the Buffalo region is long since used to brutal winters, but this much snow this early caught everyone off guard. By this morning, as much as 6 feet of powder blanketed areas south of the city, buried houses up to the roofline, and triggered a state of emergency. Photos of the massive lake-effect storm showed a hulking wall of snow rolling off Lake Erie yesterday. It piled up so fast that a 132-mile stretch of the New York Thruway shut down, trapping more than 100 vehicles.
Where are you trying to go?
Buffalo.
And how's that going?
Not well.
The Niagara University women's basketball team was stranded in a bus for more than 24 hours before being rescued early today. And all across the region, people tried to shovel and plow out of nearly head-high drifts, only to have fresh snow cover their tracks at the rate of several inches an hour.
It's horrible. It's just backbreaking. The snowblower doesn't even do anything.
It's just too much shoveling. I'd rather be inside all cuddled up in a blanket watching TV.
The storm's first wave finally moved slightly north today to places that received just a dusting earlier. But a second round was expected to bring another 2 to 3 feet of snow by tomorrow.
That will get them to 90, 100 inches of snow. That's a year's worth of snow in 4 days.
And that spelled trouble for the Buffalo Bills football team, scheduled to host the New York Jets Sunday. Officials were scrambling to see if they can clear the snow from Ralph Wilson Stadium in time. Elsewhere, the wintry blast brought the kind of cold usually seen in January or February, if at all. There were readings at or below freezing yesterday in all 50 states, making it the coldest November morning nationwide since 1976. Late today, transportation officials announced the hardest hit sections of the New York State Thruway will stay closed at least through tomorrow. Israel reimposed tough security measures today in a bid to stop attacks in Jerusalem. Crews demolished the home of a Palestinian man who drove his car into a crowd last month, killing 2 people. Relatives walked through the rubble in East Jerusalem after the home was blown up before dawn. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu promised there's more to come.
I'm
impressed by the genuine effort to intervene in real time against disturbers of the peace and terrorists. This is a significant and important step, and there will be more home demolitions. There will be many more steps. We have nothing against the residents of eastern Jerusalem, but we will not tolerate attacks on our citizens. And we will act against those who do these things and against those engaged in incitement.
The policy of demolishing homes was largely suspended in 2005 after security chiefs concluded it was not an effective deterrent. In Pakistan, 4 relatives of a pregnant woman who beat her to death were sentenced to death themselves today in Lahore. The victim's father, brother, cousin, and another relative had attacked her last May after she married against her family's wishes. Hundreds of Pakistani women are murdered every year in so-called honor killings. The Ebola death toll has risen to more than 5,400 in 8 countries. The World Health Organization reported the new figure today. It also said there have been more than 15,000 confirmed cases. Meanwhile, the World Bank said economic losses in West Africa are far less than once feared due to efforts to contain the disease. It estimated the damage at $3 to $4 billion. The worst case had been $32 billion. A warning today from the acting director of the Secret Service. Joseph Clancy told a House hearing that a series of scandals at the agency has badly damaged morale and operational security. One of the incidents came in September when a man jumped the White House fence and got inside the executive mansion. An internal review found multiple failings.
I found the findings devastating. What hits the hardest is the range of shortcomings that ultimately allowed Omar Gonzalez to enter the White House practically unencumbered. Although I firmly believe the Secret Service is better than this incident, I openly acknowledge that a failure of this magnitude, especially in light of other recent incidents, requires immediate action and longer-term reform.
Clancy was appointed to his post just last month after Julia Pearson resigned as director under pressure. The Cystic Fibrosis Foundation announced a windfall today. It sold the royalty rights to drugs used to combat the fatal lung disease. Royalty Pharma paid $3.3 billion. The foundation had invested about $100 million to help create the first medicine that treats the genetic roots of cystic fibrosis. In the face of California's prolonged drought, the city of San Diego is taking a step that was once unthinkable. The city council voted last night to recycle sewer water for drinking. The project will cost $2.5 billion. San Diego currently draws 85% of its water from the Colorado River and Northern California. Wall Street paused today after reaching a series of record highs. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 2 points to close at 17,685. The Nasdaq fell 26 points to close at 4675, and the S&P slipped 3 to finish at 2048.